This is the 100k build challenge. I am 15 and I'm trying to make $100,000 using only AI tools, starting with absolutely no coding background. Just these vibe coding tools we'll be using. Honestly, I have no idea how I'm going to get there or what I'm gonna do to get there, but I'm diving in and seeing what happens. Just a reminder of the rules for this challenge. Rule number 1, I have to document everything right here on this channel. Rule number 2, I can only use AI tools to build. And rule number 3, I cannot stop until I hit that $100,000 mark. The only thing I can promise is I'm not going to stop, and I'm going to keep documenting the whole journey. The motivation for this challenge comes from the starter build story. He is doing the same challenge, Pat Walls, and he has invited people to join him. So I'm here to carry on this movement and show people that they can do anything. I'm 15 and I have no coding background, and we're gonna figure this out together. This is the 100k build challenge, episode 1, or day 1, I guess. And in this episode, I wanted to show you guys the idea I had and how I came up with the idea, how I brainstormed the idea, and how I would start setting up the project to build the idea. So the first thing I want to talk about is Sesame. Sesame.com, if you guys don't know what this is a super realistic human voice. It's like an AI voice, very human-like. And if you log in, you will get a persistent memory. So I talked to it like multiple days. I had different ideas hanging around in my mind, and I just spit out the ideas and it helped me brainstorm. Now I'll show you how this works. I'll just call Miles.
Hey, back so soon? You're on a roll. What's got you talking again?
Hey Miles, can you do me a demo? Just tell the viewers what you can do and how we brainstorm our ideas, please.
All right, viewers, gather around. Let me tell you, hanging with Gemma is kind of like having a superpower sidekick. You've been kicking around this fitness app idea, Project Hard, inspired by the go-getter, David Goggins. Think personalized challenges, gamified with the military vibe, all wrapped up in a sleek, minimalist design. Now I'm the idea guy, bouncing off her thoughts, throwing in a witty comment here and there. Gemma, she's the master planner, organizing it all, feeding our brainstorming.
The whole idea, bro. Say what you
True. Right. Sorry, got carried away. My bad. I'm Miles, AI buddy extraordinaire. I'm here to help folks like Gemma flesh out their ideas. Think of me as your creative sounding board. Got a wild concept? Need to work through some kinks? I'll bounce ideas right back at you, keep things real, and maybe even make you laugh while we're at it. What else can I say? I'm a work in progress, but progress always.
Alright, thank you.
Pretty much.
Okay, so when you're talking to it, you can talk to it properly. I couldn't talk with it because I was recording this video. As you can see, when you're done with the conversation, there's a download clip option. So what I did was I went on a walk. I pulled this up on my phone. I talked to it for like 20-25 minutes, bounced around ideas. Then I told it to read me a PRD for the MVP. I told it the tech stack I'm going to use. I told it everything. Then I told it to read me just the PRD, the product requirement document kind of thing. And then I downloaded the clip. I speech texted it, gave it to Gemini. This is the next step. So I had Gemini. I just gave the script to the Gemini and told it to make this PRD look like an official document, and it did that, I copy pasted that into my environment. So that's the initial thing I did. One more thing I'm going to show you is memory bank. This was released by Cline. If you don't know what Cline is, it's just this open source alternative to Cursor and Windsurf, and that's not what we're going to be using, but the concept they have given us is give you the rules to put for Cline, then you can use those rules in any IDE. What memory bank is essentially just the memories, as the name says, and this is very, very powerful for context. So here it says memory bank isn't a client-specific feature, it's a methodology for managing AI context through structured documentations. When you instruct client to follow custom instructions, it reads the memory bank files to rebuild its understanding of your project. So that's essentially what it is. I had also other rules set up for Cursor. I gave both of these to Gemini and I told it to combine them, and that's what I use. Now the AI IDE we're going to be using is obviously VS Code, our editor, but augment. If you don't know what augment is, this is probably the biggest competitor to Cursor and Windsurf, and I would argue it's even better. Now what the whole point of augment is, it's like if you look at the settings, it has unlimited trial requests. Right now it's unlimited if you use it. I've used it for like months now, and they're gonna release a pricing soon, but right now, because it's early access, it's free. It has built-in configuration for GitHub, Linear, Notion, Confluence, Jira, and Supabase. Now GitHub and Supabase are the ones I use, but the rest, if you use them, it is pretty straightforward. You just connect them, and it's like an MCP server, but built in, so way more powerful. I have the Context 7 MCP. This is a very strong MCP for up-to-date docs. If you look on YouTube nowadays, the whole YouTube and X is full of this, and I had already installed it, and I tell it to use it all the time if it has any problem. Then I have sequential thinking. It helps it plan and find out different things and think in a sequential pattern. That's a very useful MCP server. I also have Supabase MCP server set up because before I saw this, I didn't even pay attention to this, and I set up the MCP server. Then I saw it has built-in configurations, so I set that up too, so you can use both of them. Very, very powerful. Now, the most important part, I must say, is the user guidelines. This is my user guideline right here. I have very strict guidelines. Let me make this a little bigger. Very powerful, I must say. I combined like two things. One's the memory bank we got from Cline. This, I just copied the rule they gave us. There's a copy button here. And the next thing, I had something set up before. I made it with Grok for Cursor. I told Gemini to combine both of them, and it gave me this. Now I had started the project before, and I went very, very forward. I think the memory bank and the PRDs and stuff really helped, but I didn't really liked the way the approach I had, and also I hadn't documented it, so that didn't really count. The first rule of this challenge is we have to document everything, so I said I must retry it and start fresh. So I did that in this one because I wanted to build the MVP. Here it built the stuff that I didn't really need for the MVP, but they were in the PRD because when I was talking to Sesame, that was in the conversation, so Gemini put that in the PRD as well. So that's one more thing, one more reason I want to start this project again. Now, I had this single PRD, it's in the memory bank right now, and this is pretty straightforward, pretty uh, detailed. I took this from Gemini, I pasted it into here, and I told it to initialize the memory bank using the context and everything. But then for this new project, I have that set up already. And for this one, I went with a very modular design, because the things I really need for this project. So this essentially what my idea is. Sorry, I forgot to tell you guys that. But what my app will be is a David Goggins inspired fitness app. It lets you do weekly challenges and get a military badge kind of thing. So I've seen this app on X and on TikTok. It's like a fitness app as rank. So you rank. If the more you do workouts, it shows you what parts of the body you have done, and then you rank based on the workouts you do. So it's essentially the same thing, but in a military badge kind of thing. It has weekly challenges. So the more you do challenges, the higher your badge is. And that's pretty good. And a David Goggins inspired fitness app, I think it would really be a good idea if I can pull it off properly. And the MVP will build it first. It will be just the challenges and the badges, only those two things. Later we can add a fitness tracking, we can add gym workouts or weights if you have weights at home or you have access to gym, or calisthenics. I know I wrote that wrong, but whatever. So this is our tech stack. We're going to be using React Native for the front end, Expo to use the app with my phone and web for testing obviously, and then Node.js for the backend. Supabase will be our database because it's super easy to use. So this is essentially what my idea is, and the MVP will be the challenges and the badges. And the next thing I did to set up the project, I went here and I told augment. I told it, can you give me all the components and modules in my project, the one I had built before without documenting it, and give me a list of them with all the modules and components built into my app. One can be integrated later. This is probably the most important part of augment. Augment is built upon high context repositories and projects. So Cursor, Windsurf, Cline, all of them will flunk when there's too much to think about. And the higher the context of a chat or the higher the context of a project goes, they get worse at implementing properly. So what augment is, it has a context engine. It's built for high context and high level of code, high amount of code repositories. So it uses this engine to find proper things. You see it used it twice to find my PRD file and then the memory bank files. It's also in the guidelines, so it has to read those before going on. So I just read the vision.md because that's the main goal of the project, and it gave me all this. I copied from the beginning until here, and I pasted it into Gemini right here. Core components are these. At the end of it, I said, hey, this is my project and I have all these components and modules for it. I want to break it down into separate parts to build them separately and then combine them at the end. That's the approach I will be going with this new way I will be implementing this project. So that's my approach. Modular designs and building each component differently and then combining them at the end. What modules go together and then combine them at the end. What models go together in building this, like one should be auth, one should be onboarding, one should be the profile, and then another one should be the challenges. That's the MVP. I will not be working with the rest of the stuff for now, so give me only for those, please. Then it started giving me all this. That was pretty good. Then I gave it the PRD I got earlier, like a couple of days ago, and I told it to make these for each module, a PRD for each of these modules in Markdown format. Obviously it didn't give it to me in Markdown format for some reason. I don't know why it can't do that. Well, I bypassed it. I just put it all in docs and then exported them as Markdown. Because I think if I just copy paste it into a Markdown file, it's not going to work. I don't know. But that's what I did. And I did it for all of them. And this is essentially all I have. Then I went back to augment. And let's go all the way to the top. I said, hey, can you initialize memory bank, but do it in different sections for each module that we have in each file in the memory bank. So I saw that because some of these modules are interconnected, I can't build them completely separately. So I just have to make them in different formats, in different chats maybe, and have different PRDs for each one. So I told it I have 4 PRDs, product requirement documents, in the modules PRD folder. Right here, I pasted all of those 4 PRDs I took into this folder, and I told it that I have another PRD file in the root directory. It's this one, the main PRD. So read that and from that file look at the other 4 PRDs. Those are the 4 modules I want to work with, not the rest explained in the PRD for the project hard. So essentially I just want to work with these 4, not with the other stuff explained into this. I also told it to keep the stack and set up all the same, but just make the memory bank for those 4 modules section by section for each file. We also want a directory called project heart with the front end and back end subdirectories in it, and each module, I wrote muscle, but module will have a different directory in those subdirectories. So I don't even know what I said myself, but I said it anyways, and it understood. So in the memory bank, I kinda wanted it to be like, this is the first module, this is the second module. It even is like that. It's like onboarding and then profile and then challenges, but it even added a single file for each one. So auth module.md and then product, no, not that one, but profile module, and then onboarding module, and then challenge module. So it even added a module for each one. I didn't expect it to do that, but it did it anyways. It used the context engine. As I said, that's probably the biggest weapon of augment. It made all the directories, made the files and everything. It made like I told it to start the project. I think I told it right here. Yeah. I said we also want a directory called project hard. It made the directory with the front end and back end subdirectories in it. Front end and back end directories. And each module will have a different directory in those subdirectories. It did that pretty good. Like there's an auth, there's a challenges, there's onboarding, there's profile, there's in the back end they're the same thing. So the back end for auth will be here and the front end of it will be here. Let's just clean. So it made all the file, made all the readme files. Then I noticed that I haven't checked what the database will be in my PRDs. So I told it that the database we will be using is Supabase. I forgot to change that in the PRDs. Can you do that please for all the PRDs and memory bank files you made, please? Go one by one for each file so it's not overwhelming. That's just like, if you give it too much, it will just flunk. So the database it had was MongoDB. I said change it to Supabase, and it just started going file by file. It even made multiple changes to one file because it had multiple places, and it just changed everything. It worked on everything and it changed them all. It updated every single file for me, replacing MongoDB with Supabase PostgreSQL database. So now what I'm working with is essentially 4 different core modules: authentication, onboarding, profile, and challenges. And for my MVP, these four are the most important. Now I haven't clicked keep all. You see that it has added around 1,291 lines. Exactly 1,291 lines. And it has made changes to 21 files. That is a lot of lines. Because it made so many files, that is pretty cool. It also has memories. So the augment memories start here. You see it has added stuff. So I can initialize memory bank for 4 modules from PRDs. For the database, this project will be using Supabase as the database. These things will be sent to it on each request. So that's very direct, a literal for it. Love about this. No other IDE or coding assistant ever gives you built-in memory, except if you add a MCP server for it. So I'm gonna keep all on this one. Now this is essentially my project right now. I have a memory bank with all the files. They are pretty updated with the information I want. I have the essential PRDs for modules, PRDs. I can even put that into the memory bank file. I'll do that right now, because that should be in the memory bank, because every time they read it, they have to read that. Then I just give this here too, because that's a PRD too. This is just essentially more clean, and things that are related to context will be inside memory bank. And inside project hard, there are readmes on each and every single one of these. I mean, I don't think we need that many readmes, but whatever. That's still good for context. So you update the readme the next time the next chat comes, it will fix everything. Now the biggest use case for memory bank is these IDEs. Doesn't matter if you use Cline, Cursor, Windsurf, or whatever, even augment. This is built for high context, but the more the context fills up, the worse the AI will become. And at some point you just want it to dump everything into a file. And memory bank is essentially that. So it dumps everything here. Then when you make a new chat, it can read all those files and then keep going from wherever it was, but with a completely new kind of context. So everything you said, like you said, change the color. That is nothing important to be in the memory bank because you already changed it. But that fills up the context in essential or in the chat that you're in. Will just fill up the context and make the AI worse at keep going, at keeping. It will just make the AI worse and at implementing stuff. And I always use Agent Auto. If you don't trust them, just use the manual version. So you have to it requires approval for some tools. So you have to approve most things, files, or like files, or use MCP servers. These things you gotta approve manually. But here it's just automatic. So I don't want to go through the headache of clicking yes, yes, yes every action it takes. But because it tries to mess up something, I just stop it and make a new chat most of the times. So this is essentially what my stuff is. I use Gemini a lot. And one thing I want to say is Gemini Advanced is, I have Gemini Advanced and Google has an offer right now. Let me see if I can find that out. Gemini Advanced free for college students. The offer should be here. There we go. So another thing Google has is like this offer saying students get free access to our best AI models with Gemini Advanced, prep for your exam, perfect your writing, and tackle your homework with the best of Google AI. Gemini Advanced Notebook plus Whisk plus 2 terabytes of free storage, available in the US only by June 30, 2025. So obviously I am not a college student, but I had access to someone who was a college student, so I just signed up with their email. Another thing is, you can share this with like 5 people, with 5 different Google accounts. Like, doesn't matter. If you get it, you can share it with 5 people. That's pretty good. So that's why I have Gemini Advanced. I really like the 2.5 Pro model. It is one of the top AI models out there right now. And one more thing I should say is Augment is built upon Claude 3.7, but Gemini 2.5 Pro is a pretty good model for code or for anything. So this was essentially my project structure, how I started it, how I brainstormed it with Sesame, how I used cline memory bank, used Gemini to make the files, make the documents. You can do this with any chat model. You can do this with Claude, you can do this with ChatGPT, whatever subscription you have. If you don't have a subscription, you can do it with the free Gemini model. And also, if you know someone that is a college student in US, or you are a college student in US, you will get Gemini Advanced for free until 2026. It's like July 2026, so more than half. It's around 14 months from now. So then how I use Augment, the rules, I will leave the rules file as a document in the description if you need it. And see you guys in the next episode.